Commence primary ignition.
Hello there, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're watching the Virtual Cantina Network. Ooh. Is there a blue milk around? Can I get something? I'm in a cantina after all. Goodbye there.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another news desk from the Virtual Cantina Network for Star Wars Celebration Japan 2025. My name is Spencer. I am one of the lead admin and owners of the Virtual Cantina Network. We welcome you to another one of our spectacular events. This is also very much interactive, so if you are on StreamYard, if you are on Facebook or Instagram or even on YouTube on the VCN, please log into StreamYard.com/Facebook in order to get your StreamYard logged in, and we can give you the proper credit for all your questions. Once again, we are live right now on all the platforms. We hope you are going to enjoy this, and this can be, once again, very, very interactive and very excited to be here with everybody. But first, let's talk about a couple of things that are going on within the Star Wars fandom, especially what's going on with the Virtual Cantina Network. Don't forget that on the 17th of April in Japan, in part of Star Wars Celebration at the Hub Kakumari, we are doing the Not So Virtual Cantina Special Edition. General admission tickets go on sale the first of the year at 9 a.m. Eastern. We are going to have karaoke. We are going to have sabak, brought to you by our great sponsors over at Hyperspace Props. Hyperspace Props were the official sponsor for the Virtual Cantina family vacation this past summer, but also they are the special sponsors for the Virtual Cantina Not So Virtual Cantina, in Japan right now. And if you go to hyperspaceprops.com and go to the code NSVCSE, you can get your purchases 10% off. And so there's still plenty of time to get this before the end of the year. Once again, thank you very much to Mike over at Hyperspace Props for joining us 2 weeks ago. And we'll have Mike on again in the very near future. But anyway, once again, comment, ask questions. We'll be here to help you out. Now, today's episode is primarily called, So You Bought Your Flights and Booked Your Hotel, Now What? Star Wars Celebration is in 4 to 5 months from right now. So right now is December the 7th of 2024. A lot of us are coming in exactly 4 months from today, or 5 months, depending on what's going on with your time frame. And you might have just bought your flights, especially over there's some great deals over the Black Friday weekend. I ended up buying my flights on Travel Tuesday, and you're now okay, it's real. You made the investment. You're going to go to Star Wars Celebration. You got your tickets. You now have your flights, and you might have some of your hotels booked. Now, the common thing right now that people are having issues with, which I completely understand that, is the general blocks for Star Wars Celebration is a good 30 minutes away by Disney. Now, I can assure you that the metro in Japan is actually fantastic. It goes very quickly, and there are express trains that go from Disney all the way towards where the Maharimasi Convention Hall is in Chiba, where Celebration is going to be. However, once again, it is a good 30 minutes away. So the best thing I could always recommend for you guys to do is to take a look at Booking.com, look at Expedia, look at all the different sites, and even check back like at the beginning of the month or the beginning of every week or so. That just double check and make sure that you have access to these rates, and as well as to see if things open up. I know people who are trying to get into the APA over in Chiba, right attached to the Matahari Masi, and it always seems to be sold out. I've been noticing that around the first of the month that spots do open up. And I do see people jumping as well and going and get better deals or better locations. So if you're looking for a better location, just keep on looking. So please check out those things. Also want to talk about some other things right now as far as Star Wars Celebration is concerned. And also Japan. Do your research. One of the things I am most proud of is with this group, especially the virtual Cantina, is the fact that we have a great team behind us, but also we all seem to really revel in doing the research for ourselves and then passing it on to you. So a lot of the stuff that we're finding out and we're putting out there is tips of the trade that we are hoping that you will utilize for your trip or to add on. I started doing these news desks probably, I would say, in 2018, 2019, right before Star Wars Celebration in Chicago. And a lot of it was my own personal research. I also did that quite a bit in 2017 for Star Wars Celebration in Orlando for the 40th anniversary, listening to podcasts. Listen to podcasts from Fantha Tracks, from Jedi News, the Star Wars Autograph News with my co-host and partner Frank Rich. Also, Blob of the Hutt over in Ireland. Some really great Star Wars Sith. Tony's absolutely incredible himself. Resistance Broadcasts. There's some really good podcasts out there that do a lot of talk about Celebration. Listen to all of them and listen to the tips of the trade. Because really what's going on right now is we're all sharing our ideas. I'm learning stuff all the time from other groups and traveling around the world and going to other cons, etc. But utilizing these skills that not only have I done the research for, but also listen to other podcasts around the fandom just to learn more about that. But also to add on to that, there's shows like Ordinary Adventures, Paging Mr. Morrow, the Star Wars Sith, as I mentioned, the TDR Explorer, the Adventures of Matt and Nat, Always Believe, and also Star Wars Explained, and so many great shows out there. Take a look at them. They've all gone to Celebration in one fashion or another. They all have their tips and how things should go. But like I said, we're primarily going to talk about you're going to Star Wars Celebration, you booked your flights and everything. Now what? Now, honestly, is the time where I would start doing my research for con itself. I've talked many a time that Star Wars Celebration is unlike any other convention that you are ever going to go to anywhere. You can go to New York Comic Con, you can go to San Diego Comic Con, you can go to MCM in England. It's Star Wars Celebration. There's nothing like it. You're also with at least 70,000 plus Star Wars fans and Star Wars fans alone. Now, this is unlike any other con because you're talking about just Star Wars. Now, you might have actors there who have been in other properties and they're more than happy to talk to them. Like, for example, if you see Jason Isaac, he'll talk Harry Potter with you. You talk to Sam Witwer. Sam Witwer will talk to you about just playing James T. Kirk in that special that just came out for Star Trek. They're fans first and foremost. And everybody who's gone to Star Wars Celebration as a talent or anything of nature goes for one reason. They are Star Wars fans. But let's talk about Star Wars Celebration. I firmly believe that if you go to Star Wars Celebration and you over-prepare for Star Wars Celebration, any other con you go to in the world will be easier because you prep for Star Wars Celebration, and you can never over-prepare. The first thing I would always recommend is make sure that you have good walking shoes and shoes that are already broken in, because obviously your steps are going to be in the tens of thousands every single day. And if you think that you're walking doing around the world over Epcot is the most amount of steps you've ever taken, go to Star Wars Celebration in one day. Make sure your shoes are broken in and they're comfortable walking shoes and that you're able to walk in them. The second thing I always recommend is make sure you have a good backpack. Now, I have a backpack that has it has a place in it that if I want to bring my laptop, I could, but also it holds, I go very much into the autograph hall. So it holds my iToya folders, which kind of look like this. They have acid-free paper sleeves inside that protects my autographs and also my photo ops. And I usually carry it in 2 different sizes, in an 8x10 or 11x14. Or if you're going with Funkos, sometimes, I might go with like more than 3 Funkos with me, and I don't want to carry the big boxes. Funkos are popular. They're easy to get signed, and you're wanting to make sure that you have everything you need. So what I typically do is I actually bring an accordion folder with me. I have my accordion folder nearby. Here it is. So I have my accordion folder right over here. And as you can see, it's got many different sleeves in there. And what I'll do is I will take the pop out of the box. I will fold it to its natural folds. So it kind of looks something like this. So here's like a chopper pop. I always have a chopper pop at any Star Wars con I go to because you never know when you might see Mr. Filoni. And I'd rather have something and, get signed and not get signed than to meet Dave and not have anything at all. So you have all that. And as you can see, it's 8.5 by 11 folder right there. So I just slip that in nicely like that. And you can see that it fits perfectly into the slides and anything of that nature. So making sure that you have all your supplies. I am also a very big advocate of bringing your own pens. I bring, different color Sharpies, different color paint pens, big, medium, small, different, tips, just to make sure that I'm getting the autographs that I want. So I go overboard. I have my own pens. I have, a packet of Post-it notes in case I want something similar on my page, on my autograph, on my Funko or my figure or my prop. I might bring a Black Series helmet, which I do recommend if you have the access to get a soft cover motorcycle helmet case. Then you can put your Black Series helmet into that very nicely, and it can be your carry-on, one of your carry-ons that you do on your trip anywhere you were going to go. Or you can ship it wherever you're going to do from there. I always bring painter's tape. I have extra, what we call top loaders, which you can see bought at shows. Like you can see when I'm waiting in line, I might test out a paint pen or anything of that nature. And the reason why I bring my own paint pens is because how many times have you bought an autograph out there and the actor's paint pen or their Sharpie runs out while you're getting your autograph? And that kind of ruins it for you in that kind of capacity because you've invested in that time and also in that item that you particularly want. You might spend, an inordinate amount of money and you want that particular item signed. So I bring my own. I make sure it's being tested and primed before I use. And I bring several of each color with me because, you might have something that you might want to get the lime green. I'm just throwing that out there of a Deco or a Craftsmart Premium from Michaels that I particularly like, or a Sharpie. And it's running out. So I at least have been testing out which pens I like and bringing them with me so the actor is going there and also making sure that they know or their handler knows exactly where you want something signed. Now, I am unusual in the fact that I actually like to get a Funko signed on the top of the Funko. Like, for example, here's a great Funko that I got for the virtual Cantina family vacation this past summer. And I got Warren Prue, who is a night trooper, on the top right there. Now, why do I do the top? Personally, I do the top because first and foremost, I bought the toy. Quite honestly, I want to see the toy. Yes, the autograph is there. I love that. However, if you're signing on the top, the paint or the Sharpie is actually going to seep into the cardboard in itself and be easier to be more permanent than, on the plastic, which might fade, might scrape off or the nature. But if I usually get a quote, which I like to do quotes as well, I usually put quotes right here on the side, right here. But name and character for me is usually always on the top right there. 8x10s, you can find spaces, you could, potentially get quotes. I love getting as large of a quote as I can possibly get. And don't be afraid to ask, but also know what you want and make sure you're talking very clearly to the handler or to the person assisting the actor at that particular time. And even if you want to, like I said, bring different size Post-its with you, put down, what you're wanting and point an arrow, and you can put right there and say, here it is. So they can pass it on and say, okay, this pen to this item, and this is what they want on it in these locations. So you're going step by step from there. I mean, things happen. I've been to multiple shows where the actor completely disregards or they take off your Post-it. It happens. But if you're at least prepped, you try to go as easy as possible for when you're going from there. Another thing you're going to want to get is power converters. You want to get power banks. Now you can get a typical brick, which are, like almost like a cubed item, elongated. Mine's actually being charged right now, but also they have these great plug-in ones right here. I usually carry 2 of these and my brick with me when I'm going to the cons, just because you want to make sure that you are hooked up as far as power is concerned and multiple ways to get there. Because you're going to be on social media, we're going to be out in Asia, so you might be wanting to contact your family back in the United States or anywhere you are in the world, and you might be running out of power, and everybody in the entire hall is utilizing the same Wi-Fi. So like you can go get your own Wi-Fi at the airports in Narita or Haneda or Osaka or wherever you're flying in. Or if you have a great plan, obviously utilize that and try to log into the Wi-Fi that they have actually in the location. Personally, I am more and more considering getting my own pocket-sized Wi-Fi at the airport and then returning it at the hotel before I leave. And that's just because I'm going to be on the Virtual Cantina Network, on my personal Facebook page, also messaging with my family back in the United States. And the Wi-Fi in the convention halls are usually pretty bad. If you remember in London last year, the Wi-Fi was horrible. And all of us were trying to do multiple things at the same exact time and just making sure that you are square as far as that's concerned. Another thing is start to make a toiletry list of things that you want to bring with you, but also make sure that you pack in some extra deodorant. I mean, that's what we joke about all the time, but it's true. Make sure you have a little spray or a little roll-on stick that you can go into a restroom and discreetly, give yourself a once-over bath and take care of it in that nature. It's very simple. I mean, these are things that are just the tip of the iceberg of things that, you start looking at. But another thing I want to start looking at as well is Star Wars Celebration in itself. There is no rhyme or reason. I wouldn't say it's cookie cutter, but you can predict if you do research enough when certain things might happen. So let's just say, for example, we have a 3-day con for Star Wars Celebration Japan, and usually the first panel of the con is the Lucasfilm Showcase. Last year, they talked about Andor. They talked about Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, Acolyte, had that great presentation from Pinewood. Just so many different things. So you can at least predict that that's probably going to happen. You can predict that there'll probably be a big release in some sort of capacity. We know that Andor Season 2 is coming out the week after Celebration. So if you look at the last 2 celebrations, in Anaheim, we had the premiere of Obi-Wan Kenobi that we were able to go to. In London, we had episode 7 of season 3 of The Mandalorian opening night of Star Wars Celebration. So could we watch 2 episodes of Andor? It's very, very possible. I can't say for sure until they say it. And you hear a lot of rumors to say people say, oh, this is happening, that's happening. This person is showing up at Celebration. Until there's an official release from the Star Wars Celebration site, which is where we are going to be we get all of our information from. Just take it at face value. Know that all the actors and crew who are involved in the saga in any sort of capacity are all vying to try to go to Star Wars Celebration in Japan. And some of them are going on their own, and some of them are being brought in as exclusive guests. Until we hear one way or another, take it as hearsay. I know I've spoken to a lot of actors at Comic-Cons, and I know a lot of our members have as well. But they say that they are, and things can change. Perfect point is Ewan McGregor was just announced for a show on the West End, which is the England Broadway for theater. Preview night starts first night of Celebration Japan. If he's the lead, he's not going to put – they're not going to put an understudy on for the show that weekend when they're in previews. That's when they're tweaking the show to go for their opening night. That's when they're trying to get the show to correct. So, pardon me. So at that particular time, you're already thinking that, all right, he's probably not going to be at Star Wars Celebration, which is a shame considering the fact that it is the anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. So hopefully, Hayden's there, maybe Anthony, maybe Ian. You can all talk about that. Obviously we're hoping for some white whales, to show up like a Natalie or a Sam Jackson, which would be incredible because we both know they've not done any live conventions. They've done private signings in the last year. But there's so many different things to do there as far as Celebration. So start to look, and that it's going to be capped with the final review, and they're going to announce the next Star Wars Celebration, hopefully United States for 27 for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. So you can start to look at, but research other celebrations and see what you like there and start taking notes. Also, there's a great resource on Star Wars Autograph News that has an article of all signers from Celebration 0 all the way to Celebration in London in 23. And you could see who's been there, what their price point has been. Start taking a list of who has been there in the last 10 years. Let's just throw that number out there. But also look at Japan from 2008. Now, two of the guests that were in 2008 have already been announced. We already had Daniel Logan and Tamora Morrison. So we know that the Boba Fett's or the Jango Fett's are going to be there at Star Wars Celebration in Japan in 2025. But start to make a list. And then at that point, once you start to make a list of who you would love to see, then start to look at what you have to potentially get signed. Do you have other 8x10s that you might have picked up from official picks or from Topps Authentics back in the day when Topps ran the autograph hall at Celebration and ran their own items? Or you might have Funkos or Kenner toys or Black Series that you might want to get signed. Just start making a list of what you have. It's like, okay, well, Hayden Christensen might be at Star Wars Celebration. So let's see, I got, 5 different Funkos, and what kind of Funkos are there? A couple of Black Series. You might have the Legacy Saber that you got at Galaxy's Edge, or the Black Series Saber. Okay, so fine. You got those things right there. And then once they start to announce that Star Wars Celebration is going to have that particular guest, you could say, okay, what is the most important thing for me to get signed from that person? What do I want on it? And how many can I afford? Because remember this at the same time. When it comes to Star Wars items, in particular, if you see it at other cons and start to do with Celebration, is if you want a quote or if you want a character name, a lot of times they charge more money because obviously it's more time for them to be signing it. It's easy to do assembly line with the signature than the couple extra seconds there is for a quote or your character name. So, start to put together a list of there. Now, we got a whole slew of actors that have already been announced for Star Wars Celebration. First and foremost, we have Alan Tudyk, as we know as K2SO from Rogue One, and we know that Alan is going to be in Andor Season 2, so it's a great guest right off the bat right there. Anthony Daniels, C-3PO. 3PO is a staple. He's been in almost every Star Wars movie, and he's been in almost every Star Wars movie in one capacity. I mean, he was even solo as, someone on Kessel. So right there alone, you got a number of things that can get signed. Ashley Eckstein, the Queen of Star Wars currently. Ashley, has a slew of Ahsoka stuff to get signed from animation. Don't forget, you can get your stuff from Her Universe signed or other projects that Ashley's involved. But Ashley is a sweetheart, and she is there for the fans. We got Daniel Logan, we talked before, young Boba Fett from Attack of the Clones, but also there were scenes with Daniel in the Book of Boba Fett, the show. So you got things from there to get signed. They also got a great new Funko that just came out of Daniel Logan's character from Attack of the Clones. Just throwing that out there. My personal favorite, Doug Chang. Doug is a staple of Star Wars Celebration. If you run into him on the floor, I met him in London when I was grabbing a coffee outside the convention hall in London. I left my coffee on the counter, got a quick selfie, and ran back for my coffee. Doug, this is his first public signing at Celebration. That's incredibly exciting. Now, I already know that I'm personally bringing the Art of the Mandalorian coffee table book with me. I know it's cumbersome, but he did pretty much all of the artwork in that. I want Doug to sign that. But there's so many projects that Doug's been on since the prequels. You might want to make sure that you are, you have something there for Doug. Manny Jacinto, The Stranger. Obviously, The Stranger, as Qatar, has a Funko Pop. He also, some people have already started, getting online The Stranger helmet. I know Black Series has one coming out. It's on reserve, but it might not be out in time, but other companies do have it already. There's many things for The Stranger already, but Manny's a great guest as well, especially if you love The Acolyte. Tamora Morrison, you got Boba Fett, you got Cody, you got all the clones, really, and there's Funko Pops for all of them at that time, and Jango Fett as well. So you can get so many things, and especially if you're like, for example, you have a Black Series helmet and you've gotten, hopefully you've gotten Jeremy Bullock, you gotten John Morton, Dickie Beer, Ian Albatar, JJ Dashnow, Daniel Logan. There's so many different signatures if you're trying to do a character piece of Boba Fett that you can bring there for Tamora. So that's just some of the names, and we will get more names as we go for Star Wars Celebration. Once again, if you have a question for me, in the comments, please, comment. I'm going to check the Instagram right now before I move on to the next section to see if there's any comments. The Twitter. See if there's any comments right there in the chat right there. Nothing currently right now. Okay, not a problem at all. But if you have any questions, please put it in the chat, and I'll definitely answer that for you. And don't forget, please make sure that you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook to connect your Facebook account to StreamYard, because I would love to give you proper credit for your question on the show. And don't forget as well, if you go to this QR code that's right over to on the screen, immediate right, that will take you to the link tree for the Virtual Cantina Network. And I will, you can join in conversations on any of our social media platforms and get involved in the fun here at Star Wars Celebration Japan and also the Virtual Cantina Network. Now, the thing I would like to talk about right now is if you're going flying solo, going alone, obviously we have our own by one self Facebook page for those who are going by themselves to Star Wars Celebration or any other con, or flying solo. That's another group out there that's really great in itself. There's nothing like making friends at Star Wars Celebration. I went to Orlando, my first one, 17, and did not know anybody. Now I can flat out tell you that, obviously, I made a lot of fans and made a lot of friends just standing in line talking Star Wars, talking about other properties. I got this autograph. Oh, how's that experience? There are many different opportunities to do that. But besides that, there's also great events around Star Wars Celebration. And first and foremost, I want to talk about, obviously, our event, which we have the not-so-virtual Cantina coming to you the night before Celebration, April 17th, 2025, at the Hub Makahari, which is about a 15-minute walk, 5-minute drive from the Makahari Masi Convention Hall, as well as the APA Hotel. Pre-sale happened on December the 1st, and those tickets sold out in less than an hour. We are going to be releasing another 100 tickets at 9 a.m. Eastern on the 1st of the year. We are going to have karaoke there. No Alderaan Idol this time, so no competition, just good time. We'll have swag trading. We'll have meet and greets with actors and crew members who are not going to be official guests of Star Wars Celebration. That's correct. There are going to be people there from Star Wars who are not part of Celebration, but they'll be part of our event. Make sure you're there. Also, we'll have Sabak with Hyperspace Pros. Mike and Emily are playing some great games. They also have some items for sale at our event, and shenanigans abound as we always have. Now, your ticket includes a buffet dinner, open bar of alcohol and soda for 3 hours, a swag bag, and an event t-shirt. If you're in the continental United States, you will get your items before celebration. Otherwise, you will be picking up your event items at the Not So Virtual Cantina at our swag table. It's going to be $100 for adults 16 plus, $80 US for 15 under, and 5 and below are free. And once again, once we run out of tickets, we will not have any more. If London has any inclination before, we had 21 guests at our Bunta Eve event, and we sold out before we announced one guest. We're planning the same thing. I'm telling you right now that once we start to announce guests in February, you're going to be kicking yourself that you didn't buy a ticket. So make sure that you have your alarm set to be on our Facebook page at 9 a.m. Eastern on the first of the year, 1/1/25. There's also the Club Bash, which is like the 501st Bash. Tickets are on sale right now for that event, and that is $80 for an adult. And it has a list down because they are allowing kids to come to Star Wars Celebration Bash this year as well. If you don't have tickets for that, if your friends are involved in the 501st, talk to them. It is going to be a public event from what I'm gathering. It's always a very fun event to go to and probably one of the best events you're going to go to at Star Wars Celebration. And I know there's other meetups going on. There's another Cantina Japan event that is happening on the Friday night at a local restaurant. So there are fan events happening around there. But obviously, we're going to plug our event on Thursday night as well as the Club Bash on the Saturday night at Star Wars Celebration. Now, moving along as well is, to make sure that you're looking for, if you have your passports, make sure you have your passports, because now you should either be renewing or getting them like within the next month, because it's become increasingly difficult to get your passport later on and closer. Make sure that you are having your passport or any visa, but check with your local consulate to ask questions about different needs, your medications. Some medications, if you have antidepressants or anything of nature, are not allowed in the country. So please start doing your research and talking to your doctors about that. There will be an ADA. There is a great ADA type of group for Star Wars Celebration that's on Facebook. I will plug it on our page later on today, but they will keep you informed what need to happen. Like if you need an ADA pass in London, you need to come with a letter from your doctor explaining that you need that pass, and they would put the sticker on for you. It's obviously a lot different than it is in the United States. Is that you claim with your ADA, it's illegal for them to ask in the United States. Other countries are different. Also, start to research baggage transfers, because the thing is that they will overpack the subways, metro in Japan. And if you got 3 or 4 bags, it's really going to get really tight and very annoying around there. Make sure that you talk to your hotels, or you can pre-book. You can go to stands like they have the Yamato, which has the black cat at the airport, or they might even be involved with companies within your hotel chain. But also let them know is that if you miss it at a certain time, you might not get same-day delivery. So plan on you're not going to get your bags if you do a transfer to the following day. I know that my group a lot of us are staying in Tokyo for the first couple of days before Celebration, also to go to Disney, but also the fact that we're going to be transferring to the closer hotels to Star Wars Celebration. It's going to take a full day for our bags to get to us. So I'm recommending to our group is to have an overnight bag with you, or a small wheelie with your necessities, and then ship your suitcase over to the other hotel. And it might be in your room by the time you show up, but at least you have what you need for there. Now, we get this question a lot. Why are we doing a Not So Virtual Cantina Special Edition, not Bunta Eve? Bunta Eve is traditionally an 8-hour event. Signings for 4 hours, and then the karaoke event in the evening with all drawn item. Because we are all bound to will call. Will call is that we have to go to the convention hall to pick up our physical tickets and our pre-ordered merchandise. That way, you're not worried that you're leaving from out of the country, and your tickets have not arrived. I know a lot of people worry about that in London. That way, there's no discrepancy as far as that is concerned with the your ticket. I personally will not be getting to Chiba until Thursday morning. I'm going directly to the Matahari Masi to get online, going to my hotel, changing, and going to the hub. Because of that, it's going to be too much stress for us to do a full-fledged Bunta Eve. So we're doing a consolidated Natso virtual cantina. We'll give you the best of the Natso as well as a Bunta Eve-esque event. Hopefully the next celebration, if they have tickets that will be shipped, then it'll give us the opportunity to do a full day event like we typically do for Bunta Eve. So make sure that you're taking care of your time and your time management. Time management is a skill that some people have, some people don't have. I have an OCD about being on time to places and knowing where I have to be. When I have autograph sessions or photo ops or panels, I have a hard copy schedule in my backpack, a 3-ring binder of where I need to be for certain times. I also make sure that I have it on my calendar on my phone with alerts. I know which actors I'm seeing that particular day. I know which photo ops I'm seeing that particular day. I know what panels I'm supposed to be going to. Which leads me to the number one thing that I plug for any Star Wars celebration or any con, the rule of 3. And I'm going to beat that in mass to everybody's head. The rule of 3. When you're doing research, you're putting down what you absolutely have to do, what you want to do if you can't get to your first choice, and your third choice, if you have time, you want to be able to do that. And put that in for every time segment in the schedule of Star Wars Celebration. That way, because honestly, you are never going to get to 100% of everything you want to do. It's just virtually impossible. However, if you follow the rule of 3, what you absolutely have to do, what you want to do, and what you can do if you have time, and if you miss one, you're able to go to the next one, you will never have a bad Star Wars celebration because you'll be always doing things that you wanted to do in the first place. So, like I said, you will never get to do everything you really want to do, but if you get a list of everything you want to do for each time and follow the rule of 3, you will always have a good Star Wars celebration. And then on top of that, for me personally, is I have, like I said, hard copy in my calendar, but also when I put together my Itoya binders and my accordion folder for my Funkos, I also have it segregated by the day of where things are. So I'm not flipping through binders while I'm in line trying to find something. I know that all my Fridays are on one side of the book. I know my Saturdays are in the middle. I know my Sundays are at the end of the book. So I always try to make sure I am not wasting time because obviously there are people behind you. And you never know how long the conversation ahead of you is going to be with the talent or anything of that nature. I think that's really all I really need to talk about today. But it's a lot of planning stuff. But like I said, utilize us as a resource. We will have information for you as soon as it comes out. That's one thing we pride ourselves on, is making sure that you have the most accurate information as it happens. Follow other pages such as Blob the Hutt, Fantha Tracks, Jedi News, Star Wars Sith, Skywalking Through Neverland, Always Believe, Ordinary Ventures, TDR Explorer. So many great shows out there, Resistance Broadcast, that will give you information. Like I said, we're all in this together. We all want you to have the best time possible because we are fans at heart as well, and we're looking at this for ourselves and want to pass on the information. Is there anybody out there who has any questions before I close out for the day? Okay, not a problem at all. Once again, don't forget, we are brought to you by Hyperspace Props. Bring Star Wars to your reality. Use the code NSVCSE, which is for Not So Virtual Cantina Special Edition, for 10% off of your purchase. And there's still plenty of time to order before the holidays. Also, if you saw us the other night, we had our first watch along of episodes 1 and 2 of The Skeleton Crew. This coming Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, we're bringing in our special friend, the Virtual Cantina Hall of Famer himself, Mr. Kevin Thompson, who was a dialect coach, amongst other things, within the Skeleton Crew. Kevin will be answering questions and watching episode 3 with us on the Virtual Cantina watch along this coming Thursday on the Virtual Cantina Network. We also want to make sure that you have access to our TeePublic store, teepublic.com/user/virtual-cantina, and rock our latest Japan shirt. You can see that there, Virtual Cantina, right there with the Rebel logo and Virtual Cantina in Japanese. We also want to plug, once again, the Not So Virtual Cantina Special Edition, which will be at the Hamahari, 15 minutes away from Star Wars Celebration at the Mahari Massey Convention Hall. General public tickets go on sale January 1st, 2025 at 9 a.m. Eastern, and we are only going to be releasing 100 tickets that day. Always, please comment below at any of our different locations. Also, we want to make sure that you are following us on any of the social media accounts, whether it be the Virtual Cantina on YouTube or on Instagram, on Twitter, on Threads, etc., etc., etc. Please there, if you have any questions or anything of nature, you can also find us on Virtual Cantina Network at gmail.com. And of course, please like, subscribe, ring that bell so you get notifications on your item, meaning your cell phone or tablet, when we go live, because we are live all the time. Don't forget, tomorrow as well, we have the Unifying Force. Unifying Force is our show that we discuss, the philosophy of Star Wars. Tomorrow, Kat, Gio, and Dave are going to talk Skeleton Crew. Don't forget, also on Monday, we have Clone Wars Revisited with Mark, Ashley, and Skip, which we'll be talking about Star Wars Clone Wars and doing a complete watch along. On Tuesday, we have our happy hour on Zoom where we just shenanigans abound. We talk all kinds of fandom, our meetups, our hangouts, and everything going on around the show. We have our Virtual Cantina watch along on Thursday night, as I've talked about before. This week, we have Kevin Thompson on the guest. And right afterwards at 3 a.m. Eastern, 12 a.m. Pacific, we have the Virtual Cantina after hour show, and with Mike, Bryce, and John, and they're talking about the Skeleton Crew most recent episode. And then next week, we will have the Jedi Archives returning once again to do another show about Star Wars High Republic comic books. If you're a big fan of comic books, check it out. But once again, check us all out on the Virtual Cantina Network or on all of our social media platforms as listed below. Now, we're going to be getting out for the afternoon. I want to also plug the fact that the 501st Legion's holiday telethon is going on right now with a lot of VCN legends and Star Wars legends. A really great lineup of people that are friends of the VCN, and we are very proud of our brothers and sisters over at the 501st and the Rebel Legion and the Mandalorian Mercs and all the other fan groups are out there. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We greatly appreciate you being a member of our Star Wars Celebration family, our Virtual Cantina family, which we are over 70,000 members worldwide. Thank you so much for that. We're marching towards 100,000 by Japan. And from us over here at the Virtual Cantina, we'd like to say thank you very much for joining us tonight. And also, may the Force be with you.